Vybz Kartel. He has been fighting for his freedom over the last 13 years. You see what I'm saying? When he originally received his conviction, he appealed to the court of Jamaica, and they rejected his appeal. 13 years later, 12 years later, he appealed to the Privy Council in England, right? And they overturned his conviction. They overturned it and sent it back to the appeals court of Jamaica. Let me break it down to you like this. In my mind, I said yes. They're gonna order a retrial. They're gonna do everything in their power to order a retrial. But it turned out that I was wrong. Paula Lewin, that's her name, Paula Lewin, the prosecutor, she was out to get Vybz Kartel. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if she was just doing her job, but it seemed to me that she had a vendetta against Vybz Kartel. Now let me say this, right? They had evidence. See what I'm saying? They didn't have a body though, but they had evidence. Phone recordings and all that. But what I'm saying to you is this. The Jamaican court system, right? The court system in Jamaica, I think that they had sympathy for Vybz Kartel too. I think that they had empathy for Vybz Kartel too. You see what I'm saying? Because had this same case been in the United States, and if he was like a famous rapper in the United States, sick, who got sick while he was in prison, and he had to go through the exact same thing, the court system in the US, they don't give a shit about you. They don't care if you're rich or poor. You see what I'm saying? When they have evidence, and when they want to find you guilty, they're gonna do everything in their power to find you guilty. You see what I'm saying? They locked up R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Young Thug's fighting for his freedom, Master P's brother is fighting for his freedom, and these guys are famous people. But the American justice system, they don't give a shit. Now, the justice system in Jamaica, they had empathy, they had sympathy for Vybz Kartel, because Jamaica is not as big as America. Jamaica is an island. Vybz Kartel is a big artist and is influential, right? So I think they took all of that into consideration. And then the people of Jamaica, they were putting pressure on the government. They were out chanting, "Free Vybz Kartel," in unity. The whole entire Jamaica unified, and they supported Vybz Kartel the whole time he was locked up. So, if the local courts in Jamaica would have decided to retry Shawn Storm and Vybz Kartel, right? The people of Jamaica would have been in an uproar. So, like I said, they had evidence. You see what I'm saying? But they would have had trouble finding witnesses for the case. You see what I'm saying? So, had they had ordered a retrial, they would have caused the uproar. And then they would have had difficulty tracking all of the witnesses. And then they would have had to summons a jury. And a lot of people in Jamaica, they didn't want to deal with that. So if you ask me, Shawn Storm and Vybz Kartel, they were gifted with a miracle. You see what I'm saying? Because I thought it was over for them. I said, you know what? They're going to order a retrial. Because I was looking at the evidence. Even though they didn't have a body, but they still had enough evidence to retry him. But through the grace of God, Vybz Kartel was gifted with his freedom. It was a miracle. Let me tell you guys something, right? When I initially heard the news and saw the news on TikTok, I said it's fake news because people have been saying the world boss is free for years. The world boss is free every day. So when I saw it this week, I said this has to be fake news. But I was wrong. And when I was able to confirm that Vybz Kartel and Shawn Storm had been released, I said those two brothers were gifted with a miracle. You see what I'm saying? And Vybz Kartel is going to use his voice to influence positive change in Jamaica. Because he is a very influential person. Let me say that again. Vybz Kartel is a very influential person. He's very influential. You see what I'm saying? People love Vybz Kartel in Jamaica. People take pride in the fact that Vybz Kartel is a dancehall artist from Jamaica. The people in Jamaica, they love Vybz Kartel. He was gifted and blessed with his freedom. People were saying like, Vybz, man, look, plead guilty. Strike a plea deal. You're not gonna make it another 15, 20 years. Strike a plea deal so that you can reduce your time. No, him and Shawn Storm, they stood firm. And let me say this to you, the prisons in Jamaica, right? The conditions are extreme, but the inmates are not as violent and volatile and enduring as the prisoners in the United States. You know what Vybz said? You know, you had to shit in a bag, a plastic bag. You had to pee in a bottle. And it was hot. He said that jail cell was hot. He said it felt like my skin was burning. So the man had to be strong mentally and spiritually to endure that hardship. Shawn Storm, he could have rolled over and testified, but guess what? He didn't. He remained steadfast. He didn't turn his back on Vybz Kartel. He didn't turn his back on Vybz Kartel. Now, let me share this with you guys, right? Because it's time for me to hire some moderators. It's time to uproot the spammers in my comment sections. See what I'm saying? I'm not worried about your questions or your insults, but I am encouraging free speech, and I don't want nobody feel intimidated by people like yourself because you're saying derogatory things to try and deter people from commenting. So if you got something stupid to say, keep it to yourself, or I will get one of my moderators to remove you. This is about community. You don't have to listen to me, but there are people who look forward to watching. There are people that want to listen to me. So I don't have time for people like yourself asking me these weird questions. You should ask yourself that question. Don't ask me that question. Ask yourself that. You know exactly who I'm talking to. Come back on her and say something stupid. But anyway, let's move on, right? Like I was saying, in America, they don't give a shit about celebrities. They don't care how rich you are. You see what I'm saying? When they arrest you for murder, they're gonna do everything in their power to lock you up for life and throw away the key or charge you for racketeering. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about that. But in Jamaica, they have a little bit more compassion. They have compassion for Vybz Kartel. His health was deteriorating. I thought that he was gonna die in jail. But through the grace of God, Vybz Kartel, he was gifted with his freedom. So, he's not gonna be the exact same Vybz Kartel that he was before he went to prison, because his outlook has changed. His outlook is changed. His mindset is changed. As soon as he was released, you know what he said to the youths? Look, stay out of prison. It's not worth it. It's not nice. It's not worth it. So his music is going to be much more influential and much more powerful and much more impactful. I'm telling you that. The first show is going to be crazy. His second show is going to be crazy. Because everybody, not just in Jamaica, but in the US, Canada, Bermuda, worldwide, Africa, Germany, people are ready to buy tickets to Vybz Kartel's first concert. You see what I'm saying? His most recent concert. His upcoming concert is going to be crazy. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be big. It's going to be monumental. So what I'm saying to you guys is this, man. Vybz Kartel was gifted. Him and Shawn Storm. They were gifted. They were gifted with their freedom this week. And that's a miracle. That's a miracle. I couldn't believe it. Nothing surprises me, but that caught me off guard. I said, God really worked out a miracle for that man. So he has to use his influence and his voice to elevate the youth of Jamaica and the youth of the world. Because Americans listen to him. Right? Americans listen to him. People from England, they listen to Vybz Kartel. So he is a very influential person. So right now he's recuperating. But when it's time for Vybz Kartel to step on that stage, it's gonna be amazing. It's not gonna be anything like what you have seen before from any artist. This is going to be huge and monumental. The world is waiting for Vybz Kartel.